Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you for tuning in today for our very special live stream for the Peninsula Women's Network. My name is Marilyn Crump. I'm currently serving as your president, and I am very thrilled to be able to present to you other fellow members on different topics that they have been so wonderful to share with us today. So I want you to bring out a notebook, take some notes, learn more about the different people that we have scheduled to come on today. Feel free to type in the comments. We will be able to see them. And yes, so this is all, meaning it's all pre-taped, but we'll be able to see your comments. And as we're pushing this out there live, we'd love to display some of your comments. So please feel free to interact. And thanks again for tuning in today. Up next, we have Jennifer Marone. And Jennifer, tell us your topic that you're going to be covering today.
The importance of maintaining a routine while sequestering yourself at home.
Wow. So, I mean, raise your hand if you're definitely now at home. And then it's like, well, what do I do? You kind of have this normal routine when you leave the house, right? So so as far as like how to first get organized on there, like what are some of the tips that you give people in order to get those routines moving in the right direction?
Well, I think what is, interesting is if it was just one person at home, creating a routine is very easy. But when you have multiple people who are at home, kind of like my husband is now officially off work until the end of time. Uh, it's how do you do that? How do you balance that? For me, I'm very lucky. I've always worked, or at least for the past 10 years, I've worked from home. But so I have my office space. I have certain routines that are important to me, and then what it comes down to ultimately, if I want to maintain those routines and to balance that out with my husband also being at home, is it's having that initial conversation early on. Don't wait until the frustration overflows, but having that normal, having that conversation early on with your spouse or your significant other, that this is what I need to make my day happen.
So what if you're not a routine person to begin with? I mean, people have a schedule that they try to keep, but what if you're not a routine oriented person?
Well, for people who have, well, I think we all, in a lot of ways, are routine or oriented. If you go to work, if you worked outside the home and you were expected to be in the office at 8 a.m., right? And you were given an hour and a half or an hour for lunch break or 30 minutes for a lunch break, and then you wrapped up work about 4:30, did your sign off emails, and then came home. There were things that you did prior to that workday starting and things that you did after the ending of that workday. So prior to the workday starting, you would wake up, get dressed, shower, get dressed. I was joking. I said, some days I may not always shampoo my hair, but I still get dressed every day. And perhaps I like to get my workouts in the morning. Before I go to work. So I like to work out, shower, then get dressed and hit my station. My husband, his normal routine was wake up at 8 a.m., somehow be at work at 9:30. On the way, either from home from work, he would pick up those last few items that we needed for dinner. Then we would prep dinner. Then we would, binge a couple of hours of television. And then we would have, maybe a light conversation after we had, unwound from the day about, the highlights or the lowlights of the afternoon. So, my thought is, this situation isn't going to last forever. Marilyn, you and I, we're used to having the flexibility in our days too. I like swerve around those roadblocks and challenges. But we have to understand that a majority of the people at some point are going to be sent back to an office, or outside work. And that means that they need to be able to transition back to that. And the best way to do that is maintaining the routine. I'm encouraging my husband, even though he could be up until 2 a.m., go ahead, get to bed at, 11:30 midnight like you're used to. Go ahead and wake up when you are used to it. Jump on that exercise bike before, decide that you're going to pound out the educational videos your work has given you to do. Those type of things. It's you
I
may
know for
shift it a
me,
little bit,
yeah.
but it's important to maintain it. And my big joke is now that I am not being able to go out to a gym to exercise, I really realized I enjoyed working out at home. So I've started streaming workout videos on YouTube, and we're getting rid of the spare bed. We've actually told our kids we have no place for them anymore. So
Well, speaking of kids, I know for me, I have five, and you were talking about, routine for you, your husband. Now, what do you suggest for people who are trying to work in routine for their children too? Like, here's the crazy part. We have one in high school, one middle school, one elementary school, and preschoolers. So they're, it's all over the place. So what would you give me as a suggestion?
again, I think it comes down initially to a conversation with the family. And Marilyn, I know you. So I know how you are on scheduling. I've seen your calendar. I've listened to your tips on planning things out. And I think it does, mean that you create a routine. And that obviously, if your husband is at home, he's engaged in helping make that routine happen. One of the interesting things about it for people with children at home, not only are you trying to maintain your work and livelihood, uh, you are now the facilitator of your children's education. And like you said, you've got this wide, you know. So, my recommendation would to be have a conversation with your husband first. How are the two of you going to meet their educational routine, needs, and then create the routine for it. So it might be that you work with the youngest ones first, right? And go ahead and let the oldest ones, off in their own space to do what they can on their own, and then check in with them. But do it, give them most people 20 minutes, right? That's your attention span. So give them a 20-minute to 30-minute opportunity to work out by themselves, and then check in with them and see what help they needed. Now, I'll be honest, my kids are young adults, so I'm not the know-it-all for what is happening with the education of your children and what type of support the school systems have. But I might also recommend, and I know budgets are tight, but if you could hire on a tutor, to do some virtual education and follow up with them. So that way it's not completely on your shoulders. And that allows you again to break up that time, where you can focus on your own work and make sure that the things that you need to get done at the end of the day is good. And I recommend making sure that everybody has that recess time, figure out what schedule works best for you. Make sure y'all come together for lunch. Make sure you come together for dinner. Make sure that beautiful. I mean, it couldn't have happened at a better time. We have this extended outdoor lighting right now. So, get some activities going with the family. I think you're going to find that you bond
I
so
think
well
so
during
too. I
this
think a
time.
lot of people are beginning to realize, wow, now without all the running around, you actually have more time to plan those things. One last question for you would be, you have this routine, you feel really strong about it. it looks so good on paper, but then interruptions come. What do we do? Like, how do you deal with interruptions to your routine?
I think you would deal with them just like you would deal with any other interruption in your day. If you're in an office and your kid gets sick, and they're at school, you leave, you go pick it up, you tell your coworkers, you tell your client, sorry, we need to swerve. I got that from Michelle Obama. I listened to her book, Becoming, and she was like, "You just swerve." I love it. It's fun. It's
I love that.
yeah. So you swerve, and you take care of the kids. You get them settled in. Someone has a boo boo, you handle that. You have your client emergency, or your husband has an emergency with his client. So you get up, you take care of what his task would be with the kids until it's taken care of, and then you get back to work. The nice thing about this is the technology allows us, because everybody is now at home, unless they're essential, we've come home with tools, and we're learning new technology that allows us to go, well, I can get up, it's not part of what I want a long-term routine, but I could get up before everybody else does and knock out at these last few emails, or I could wait till everybody goes to bed and knock out this one more task when I have my focus time that nobody's going to bother me.
I love it. So that was my final question for your topic. I have one more question to ask you, because as you know, some of us are self-employed, and let's say in particular, a business like mine that was brick and mortar, not essential, and you have all these other people that are trying to figure out, like, where do I fit in the marketplace right now? What would you give them as far as, like, either outlook or advice to say that, of course, this is not going to last forever, but how do you formulate your mindset? Like, let's say most of your people for pet sitting aren't, asking you to come over. What are you relying on right now to kind of keep your spirits up and to say that, this is what I can do in the meantime?
I love that you asked that question, because I just sent out an email to my clients about that. So, for being in the service industry with my pet sitting company, and, if we do have a few clients on the books for midday dog walking, because they are essential services. But what we have done is, first of all, reached out to all of our clients, because we had so many people who suddenly couldn't travel over spring break. And now we see that trend going into the Memorial Day weekend holiday, which we had anticipated. We always anticipate the jumps on these holidays, and now we're going, wow, these are the slumps. But some of the things that we are asking our clients to do is to make sure that they are on our social media, and liking and sharing and commenting on our posts. We tell it, hey, make us feel good. We want to do that. And post photos of your pets on our social media page, giving us words of encouragement. We are reminding them that we are still open for business for essential workers. So if they have somebody who they know is suddenly working long hours with a dog, feel free to pass on our information. We are encouraging them, because cash flow for the business is a little tough right now. We are encouraging them to pre-purchase services that they are going to be able to use in the future. These aren't gift cards, they won't expire. And so they're putting a little bit of money back into the business. But more importantly, we have asked them, when they cancel, an upcoming trip, if they wouldn't mind, and I know it's a really big ask, but they are responding to it. If they wouldn't mind going ahead and, giving the pet sitter a tip. You know, they'd already had set aside the money for that trip. You know, if they would just give the pet sitter just a little bit of a thank you tip for holding the space open for them, you know, that's the sort of the things that we are doing. Yeah.
I love all of that. So thanks for sharing that. So if people want to get in touch with you, what are the best ways for them to reach you?
Well, for pet sitting services, they can always go to our website, and that's Critter Sitters with an S and more.com, or they can reach out to us via phone 757-268-9644.
Perfect. And lastly, last would be what's the value that you feel PWN plays at this moment in time for the members?
I, you know, this is the moment in time where you circle your wagons and you learn from each other. This is the time that you connect with other people and you strategize with them and you share what's working for you and you ask for the resources and the tips and the help that you need. There is no more important time to be networking is when your business is slow. So, and PWN is the wealth of education and support that, you know, that is giving at this time. And if you get on you know, into our membership and you ask for it, somebody is going to give it to you. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's been my experience, and I'm so super grateful. You've definitely been a very influential member for me, and I know that other people who have met you, you're just a treasure. And so thank you for with your presence today. We really appreciate all that you do, and I certainly appreciate everything that you do. So thanks everybody for tuning in. You can definitely reach Jennifer anytime. Like, she's always like a pleasure to work with. And we look forward to seeing more things come about, you know, as we're all pulling our creativity together. So thanks for that. That's a great thing to say. All right, here we have next is Brenda Eckert, who is a PWN member who does financial coaching. And Brenda, tell us a little bit about what you do and your background.
Well, thanks, Marilyn. Yes, well, my background is I have a PhD in sociology, and I've worked on justice system reform for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And yeah, that career ended, and I decided I had an opportunity to sort of get a do-over. What do I want to do? And what really spoke to me was helping people get into a financially good situation so that if their job ends or a crisis occurs, they can manage through it. And in fact, I really talk a lot about financial freedom to get people to the point where they don't have to depend on the paycheck. And so the coaching, it's different from an advisor because I don't sell products. I work with you to develop good habits, develop a good mindset. I teach you the basics. I'll help you budget. I will help you create your dream life and take the steps to get there. So I am a coach. I'm a guide.
That is awesome. And especially some of the things you're mentioning is very pertinent right now. So you're talking about helping people through situations that are tough, and especially financial crises. And I feel like this is that moment, right? So what kind of mindset do you have when it comes to approaching this whole phase of what we're all going through?
The first part is, so first of all, I have pivoted my business to focus more on emergency financial planning because people need help now. You know, they need to get through the next 2, 3, 4 months. One of the things that we start with is don't kick yourself over the past. You know, I mean, most people live paycheck to paycheck, and they've gotten used to being in a good economy and spending what they have. And the first thing is, you know, it's like, we're going to start fresh. So we're going to look at this, remove the emotion. We're going to look at the numbers, and we're going to walk through, you know, what are your options? And this is the time where I believe we really have two choices. The one choice is to put our heads down and cry and feel sorry for ourselves and hope it goes away. And the other choice is to say, this is an opportunity. I have got to get a handle on my finances. I'm scared to death. I know this is going to be hard, but I want to feel better about this and have a path forward. So I feel like in this crisis, there's no middle ground anymore. Either you're going to, tackle this, or you're going to let everything collapse on you, get a higher level of stress, and the whole future is uncertain. So I try to help people create a path regardless of where they are.
I really like that. And especially you saying that there is no middle ground right now. That makes a lot of sense to me. So as far as what we'll need to do in order to get started in the process, let's say they know they need the help and they find out about you, like what kind of things do you offer for people who are just trying to get on that path? They're not completely confident about it, but they definitely want to start.
Sure, sure. I have several free resources. So I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group on financial preparedness. They're welcome to join. Every Wednesday, I do an updated free webinar of 3 financial things to do during the pandemic, and that gives you a really good overall view of what my approach is, but also I actually give you a template to create your own emergency plan. I also have paid resources. So if somebody wants to work with me one-on-one to set up a financial plan, I've got that as an offering. Also, I've started group sessions, work groups limited to 8 people. So and because of the urgency, we're going to take you through. So on Tuesday and Thursday, we'll get you into the work group. And by the end of that week, you're going to have your own emergency plan. And I'm also working on an online course so people can jump in and take the online course on emergency planning on their own time, as fast or as slow as they want. So it's partly it depends on your comfort level. Are you pretty good with spreadsheets? Or do you need a guide? And that will key in how much assistance you want and need.
That is awesome that you have all that available. And I think I've been in your group as well, and you do give wonderful resources to people, and that is so nice of you to do that. Now, one thing, I know we're speaking mainly to our women that are in the area, and half the time I do notice that the women aren't as deep into the finances as maybe their spouse or partner would be. So what would you suggest, if they're definitely working with their partner, how do they gain all these things together so that they can get everything set up, so it's not like a battle saying, I have this new way that I learned and here's what and
Right.
How do we meld it all together?
Right. Well, first of all, I had read a statistic where if you're in a grocery line and there's a person behind you, and if you could choose whether to talk about sex or money, people prefer to talk about sex. So money is still a deep, dark secret. People don't talk about money, and it hurts us. I mean, and we don't have knowledge of money. We have very little training in money. And if you are sharing your finances with someone, it's really important that you be on the same page. And I mean, there are a couple of websites that I can put into my Facebook group that's specifically for couples. But certainly, it's about starting the conversation. And what happens now, especially, this is so critical because someone falls ill and the other person doesn't know where the money is. How do I log into the accounts? What do I do if I have to withdraw funds? What do I take out first? So these are things that people have been putting off for a long time, and now it should be at the very front end because, heaven help us if your partner falls sick gets hospitalized, if your partner dies. And, you know, these are things that we just have to do the basics. And then I also talk about different personality styles. So for instance, if we're talking about budgeting, there are lots of different ways to budget, and the right way is the one that works for you. So, you know, I don't have you subscribe to this particular budget approach or that particular budget approach. If you tend to be an overspender, we have an option for you. If you hate spreadsheets, there's an option for you. So part of it is the conversation, and the other part is matching your personalities to the right tools.
That's really nice, because I think probably the majority of people out there think it's just a matter of like adding and subtracting, you know, and then the fact that you brought up the personalities and like the different choices that people can have, I think that's refreshing. And I think that's like something I don't really see much, like you said, discussed and given as an option. So that's really fantastic, Dr. Brenda. All right, so I know that there are things happening with our government that's helping us get through this moment. And so some people will be getting either grants or other subsidies and things like that. What do you suggest people actually do before they get that in their hands?
Well, before they get it in their hands, it's really helpful to know how you're going to use it. So let's say you're walking by an ATM and there's a $20 bill on the ground. It's found money. And our psychology, our psyche tends to treat found money differently. I'm gonna, you know, buy a lottery ticket. It's free $20, you know, so maybe I'll turn it into 2,000. Or I'm gonna, you know, go to that restaurant. And we tend to just, when money comes in unexpectedly, and it doesn't matter how it comes in, maybe there's an inheritance or maybe there's a bonus at the office, we tend to think, well, I can go on that vacation now, or I can, you know, finally put a down payment on that car. So it's really important to know that, you know, one side of your brain is telling you it's free money, go do this with it. The other side is like, we're in a crisis. I really need to do something smart with it. And part of this depends on your spending habits. So for instance, one of the things, if you are likely to be an emotional shopper, you take that $1,200, you can buy, like I love shopping at Trader Joe's. So I've done this in the past when I would get a third paycheck. You know, I'll go to Trader Joe's and get some $100 gift cards. So I know that that money is already spent and it's going to be used on groceries. So there are some tricks that you can play with, you know, your mind to make sure that that money gets sent to where you need it the most. And so, I mean, the first thing, it really has to go into your emergency fund. But there are people who are in excellent financial shape and they have more flexibility, whether, you know, some of that goes to help another family member. So it all depends on where you are. But that psychology, you know, of it's free money so I can splurge it, that's something you have to be aware of up front and have a plan so that you don't do that.
And I love planning, so and you know that. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Now, we're getting ready to wrap up this interview, but how can people find you? Like, what are some ways for people to look you up?
Well, the best way is drbrendamoneycoach.com. So that's where you can find my resources, my links, everything on emergency financial planning.
Fantastic. Any last things you want to remind people or tell people about?
I just, you know, one of the key terms that I focus on at these difficult times is the term resilience. And resilience is, I mean, people think, well, he or she is resilient. Resilience is a muscle. So, you know, over time, we exercise that muscle. And I would just like to leave everybody with the idea, the concept that we're stronger. You are stronger than you think you are. And we are going to get through this. We are going to be resilient and, you know, we're going to come out okay. So I just want to provide a little reassurance.
Thank you. I think we all need that. I appreciate your time today, Dr. Brenda, and we'll see you around the group.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Marilyn.
All right, so now we have Donna O'Hara, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her company and what she does.
Okay, so I am a certified geriatric care manager, a certified dementia practitioner, and my company offers services that kind of run the gamut. We try to, I think our most important service is advocating for the care of our seniors. But we go from there with care visits weekly, can be daily, can be biweekly. Pretty much what we try to tailor our services to what our clients need.
Do you cover a certain radius in the area? Like, where do you cover?
We pretty much cover, right now we do a lot of the Peninsula, Williamsburg, Gloucester. We've had clients as far up as Maryland, Richmond, Virginia Beach. So we can go really where anybody needs us. You know, we try not to limit. Like,
is there a certain like age range where you know, that your company definitely handles?
I think that my youngest client has been 64 years old, if I'm remembering correctly, and the oldest right now is at 95. I had a client who was 101 when she passed. So we really, the senior population, it's a wide span.
So when people are first getting to realize that they might need a service like yours, like what typically is happening in their lives or in their families' lives?
A lot of times the calls I get are either from a husband or a wife or from children. A lot of times around the holidays, sometimes even birthdays, different vacation periods, the kids will come home and find that mom and dad really need more help than they can handle. You know, a lot of times the family lives within an hour, all the way up to 10 hours, all the way, you know, I've had clients who lived over in China. So it depends where the children live. They come home, they find mom and dad have a need that they can't, you know, either supply for them or maintain for them. You know, they can get things kind of situated, but then they need assistance. So that's when they contact us.
So do you tailor, of course, I'm guessing you have to tailor every type of service for that particular individual, correct?
Correct. Every person, every client, anything we do for them is a little bit different. And I'm saying we because I do have an assistant and I do have a nurse practitioner that I work closely with. So between the three of us right now, there's always somebody available.
And how long have you been in business, and then how long have you actually been in this actual type of service?
So I started this company in 2009. It was very, very part-time. I was still working a full-time job. And then in October of 2016, I started this full-time. And my background is I worked 20 years in an elder law firm here in Yorktown. Learned an awful lot, kept going back to school, and came out as a certified geriatric care manager. I was the care manager for the law firm at the time. And, you know, it was time to go, so.
Well, that's brave of you, and also like inspiring to be able to take all those years of experience and then build a business out of it. Now, when it comes to the other more in-depth things that you do for clients, I think I've heard you mention that you help take care of like their bills and things like that too.
Yes, I can act in a fiduciary capacity. I am actually power of attorney for quite a few people. I've been executor, trustee, guardian, conservator, pretty much any part of the estate planning documents. I can be on those documents to assist the family. I do bill paying, accompany the clients to the doctors. That's a very large part of our business. I think that's a very important part because, you know, a lot of times our seniors will go to the doctor and the doctor will go into a full-fledged explanation and the senior only hears part, maybe doesn't hear what they want to hear, so they kind of cut it off. So it's always good to have another set of ears and someone that can take notes so that we can report back to the family. And we do that. Anything we do for any of our clients, we set up a rapport with their family so that we can go back to them as immediately as we can after the visit and bring them up to speed and always keep them up to speed.
Now, you briefly mentioned something. You said what they want to hear. And I know that, certain number of us who are, being responsible for our own lives and also being responsible for our parents and the generations, that are older. What if we feel like there's a need, but then we ask you to go and meet our parent and then they aren't receptive? What happens then?
Sometimes what I try to do, and that happens pretty often really, what I try to do is I try to go in and meet with the family. A lot of times I'll go in and, son or daughter's there, and they firmly believe mom and dad need this care. And mom and dad are trying to be very stoic and not, they want to carry everything as it was, 20, 30 years ago. They still believe they're in that area. So what I try to do is talk to them and see if they'll allow me to come in even once a month just to check in on them. And that's really how I try to start it. Come in and just do a brief care visit, discuss how they're feeling, and just kind of keep in contact with them, keep eyes on them at least once a month, because that way you have to earn their trust. That you have to, sometimes they just need to come to the conclusion that it's kind of nicer to have someone come in and check on them than to really be there all alone. And sometimes then things do come up and we're able to assist them more and more.
That's excellent. I know that maybe some of the clients that you work with, their parents are here in the local area, like you mentioned, and they're out of state.
Right.
What kind of things have you been able to give them as far as reassurance that, let's say they've never seen you face to face, the people who are actually hiring you for their parents, like what kind of reassurances do you tend to give them to make them feel comfortable about the situation?
I always make sure that I give references, and I have a list of references that can be called. I have my website, and I try to do a phone conference. If I can do a Skype or a FaceTime or anything with my clients' families, I try to do that. A lot of times I find that they're hiring me sight unseen. I have a phone conversation with them. It can last a half hour, an hour, whatever they need. And a lot of times at the end of that, they'll hire me or my company. And then what I do is I try to make sure that I send them updates, whether it's daily or weekly, by email. If I am a fiduciary for a client, I try to always make sure that part of their family is also included, and I report to them. There's never a time that I just go off and act on my own. I speak to the client and to their family to make sure that what we're putting in place is appropriate and they feel comfortable with, and they approve.
That's definitely very reassuring. And if you're the way in your capacity right now, like you are an essential business, how are you, just kind of formulating your thoughts about the current situation? And then if we're kind of worried about our parents and we can't get to them, would you be a resource that we can contact?
Yes, because I have been able to, certain facilities will still allow us to come in as medically necessary. And I do believe we're medically necessary, especially the clients that I have in one facility, they are in their upper 80s. So they definitely have to have someone checking in more for their, psychosocial being right now than maybe medical. We have face masks, we have, everything we can to try to keep everything at bay. We have the hand sanitizers, we have the gloves, we have the masks, and we're wearing those if we have to go in. I'm limiting visits so that if it's an emergent situation, I'm more than happy to go in. I'm making sure that I stay in contact with my clients weekly by phone. And I have done a couple visits. I do have my 95-year-old that I'm going to visit at least twice a week, sometimes daily. It just depends on what her need is. And we're just trying really hard to socially isolate, keep ourselves as well and as healthy as we can so that we're there to provide the service.
And that makes a lot of sense, to keep yourself very healthy. So I'm sure, like most of us, we're aware of each decision that we're making right now and how it could compound and affect somebody else. And so, yeah, I think being a smart business person in this time frame does have a lot to do with not only your financial health, but your physical health as well.
Exactly.
So what would you, what would you hope for, like once we're done with this whole scenario, like, and people are kind of assessing like where they're at in their life, like, and where their parents might be, do you offer just like times and consultations where people can just pick your brain and get to know about the process further?
I do. I have a lot of clients, I'll say prospective clients that call me. We'll do this pretty much in-depth consultation, and then they can decide whether they think my services are needed. If they require my services, then I go out and have the initial consultation with the family, with the parent or husband, wife, whoever it is. We meet all together and then kind of try to go from there, see what they decide.
That's very nice. And then what is your direct website and ways to contact you?
So my direct website is www.geriatriccareadvisors.com. And the best mode of contact is probably my cell phone. My business cell is 757-344-7812.
Perfect. And recently you've just launched your Facebook page, so that would be another way for people to get in contact with you through social media. We appreciate your time, Donna, and thank you for letting us know about what you do, because I'm sure a lot of us may have either our own families or friends' families that will need a service like yours, and it would be great for us to be able to like send them your way. Any final thoughts that you want to say to the PWN membership and the ladies who might be watching this?
Just to, be safe, stay well, and if I can be of assistance to you, just let me know. I'm always
Thank
around.
you, Donna. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're part of the network. And if you all haven't met Donna yet, we'll have to do it virtually, but I'm sure Donna welcomes it. And yeah, so thanks for being here, Donna.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Next up, we have Ashley Schmidt. Ashley, you're here in Yorktown, or are you in Hampton? Did you tell me?
I'm in Pocosin.
Pocosin, the
Yes,
one thing I missed.
Tiny little town.
Excellent. And you're a very new member to PWN, correct?
I am. I just joined, it's only been, 2 months ago, a month ago, something like that. So.
Yeah, so welcome. We're so glad that you're taking the time for this interview, and I can't wait to learn about what you do. So what's the topic of your subject today?
So I was calling it Refocus and Reimagine. I've been in the military for, since I was 18 years old. So a long time. And so I was active duty for about 14 years, and I've been a reservist ever since then. I'm a lieutenant colonel, and kind of the one thing I found is that change is inevitable. I mean, a military lifestyle, you're changing locations. I mean, heck, I unbox things and I haven't seen it since the previous move. And I'm like, there it is, right? So change is inevitable. You have to totally embrace change.
So definitely big topic for right now, what's going on right now. So yes. What kind of things do you really lean on when it is time for change?
Okay, so what I like to do is, because I like to think of change as an opportunity to better ourselves and to learn something new. And it's an opportunity to, if you want to do that Noah's Ark thing, right? You build the ark and then you're ready for when it rains, right? So, change means you can add on something, make it a little more comfortable inside that boat. So you're floating, right? But you're maybe a little more comfortable, right? So change is that opportunity to add to your skill set. And if you can focus on what can you do to shore up yourself versus everything else, you're just going to keep moving forward. And that's what you really need to do.
And you've been a leader for so long too. So I guess by example, when you are able to handle it, then people who are looking up to you, it kind of rubs off on them, right?
Yeah, because if you can stay calm, like that's one of the things they really stress in the military. You as a leader have to stay calm. Even if you are like, the little duck paddling under it furiously, you look calm and serene, right? Because people take cues off you. So if you can focus and give them direction, focus on, hey, you need to focus on this. Hey, you need to focus on that. Then they feel productive and useful, and they can actually accomplish something. And instead of stressing or worrying, they can do something. And that doing something boosts your self-esteem. It makes you feel like you're just doing something versus just panicking, right? So the act of doing is huge to like overcome stress or any sort of thing, just the act of doing.
And especially important when you're a parent. So like you're saying, be the example, keep a level head, try to keep your emotions in check, and then show your kids that you're doing something about it. Like, how many kids do you have?
I have 4 girls, so very pink in our house. All the way from, we have a kindergartner to I have a sophomore in high school. So I've got the wide range of kids, and they've done really well. They've done so good of just pulling together. And when they have problems, I'm always like, okay, how do you solve that problem? Don't just be upset, because upset doesn't get you anywhere. When did, if you lost your kitty cat, right? Where did you last see your kitty cat? When did you have it, right? So you kind of get them through that problem solving stage so they feel they're taking action instead of just panicking about things.
Are you working with them then? You mentioned the word reimagine, like at this moment, like they have to kind of reimagine life without school, right? Like, so what kind of things do you talk about at home at this point when it comes to reimagining?
So I'm big on giving them new and creative opportunities. So I'm kind of like, what do you want to learn? What do you want to do? So every night I cook dinner, from scratch, my version of from scratch. I use ragu and everything, but so we did baking bread, right? They're like, oh, we want to learn something. Like, well, how about you learn to bake bread from scratch? So I had them all out there kneading the bread. Even the kindergartner, she had like this little piece of dough. She's like kneading, she kneaded that thing to death. But just something new, something different. I've been having them help me with dinner every night, so they know that it just doesn't appear on the table. And they're like my daughter last night, she helped me and she's like, wow, pasta's harder than I thought it was. It was, it wasn't just boiling the water. There's a lot more to it. There's the salad, there's, all the things that go, bread, all sorts of things that go with it. And so just giving them new skill sets, new eyes, and just trying to give them something to do. So they're each supposed to come up with a hobby. We'll see how that goes. They kind of get excited and then motivation lacks, but that's with all of us, right?
Well, then how do we get motivated? Like, how do you get motivated? Like, what's the big things for you that when you're feeling kind of feeling in that slump, like what gets you revved back up?
So that's like why I love Reimagine, right? I love the idea of learning something new. I am a huge lifelong learner. I think you should learn something new every second of every day. I'm just that person. I love to learn something new and start something new and do something. And so I try and think of, new and creative ideas to do for like just this time. So like, how could you add a new skill to your skill set? How could you maybe add an additional income stream, something online, something sort of online? I'm a publisher, right? I love books. So how can you take what you do and put it into a book? So I had some ideas, like you could take an online course and that you have already made and just put like YouTube slides and the URL into a book and then publish it on Amazon for $30 or $40. And now you have a total, so you put the YouTube links, maybe you could either have ones you have private, so if maybe it's a class people pay for, or you have them out there, you could just put the links there and someone could learn something in an organized fashion versus just like YouTube, which has too much information if you try and just go for it. Whereas if you break it down to chapters, watch this, right? You could do something just crazy, like if you're into health and wellness, what about a half recipe book with like 10 or 12 recipes and then a blank recipes that they can write in themselves. Prompt books, stress, if you help people with stress, what prompts, what questions, how do you lead them along? And you create something that they can self-lead themselves along. Pet sitting, what information would you wish the people you pet sit had, right? Like make a book and then you can give it to your clients for free and they would think, oh, that's so sweet of you, right? But it's really kind of beneficial to you and you could sell it as well. There's all sorts of crazy things you can do if you just kind of rethink what you're doing and how you're doing it. Get better, like learn a skill. I love to learn a skill. So I've seen YouTube and I know kind of all the tricks, but I've never done it myself. So I started my own live YouTube because live is easy, right? Everyone says it's not, but you don't have to edit. You don't have to do anything, right? You just show up and just do it, right? So I just, show up and do it, and they're not great yet, but they're improving. Like it's easier to see and judge other people's channels. And as you do it yourself, you go, oh, I need to promote myself at the beginning and end, say all the things that I'm not into yet. But, you can put sticky notes in your computer and make it better. So just jump into something. I love learning something new, trying something new, and just getting excited about something because it helps grow you. You can always use those skills, whether or not your product works or not. Your skills you learn, you can always take that with you.
I see that you're full of energy, like when you're talking about something that you're really passionate about. So I think for you, getting even started in one of those things that you just love to do brings you new energy, right? Like it energizes you as you go.
Yeah.
So for those who are like always busy and things like that, like how do you maintain a balance so that you're not tipping the scales totally to that side? Because I can get that way. I'm like, oh, I'm doing something new and I'm doing something, that I've never done before, and I can get really like obsessed about it. Like, what kind of tips would you give someone like me?
So I'm totally like you too. So I have a few ways to monitor myself, right? So I'll pick top 3, right? You can list everything you want, list everything under the sun, put it all down there, and then decide on your top 3, right? And don't let yourself wander off those top 3 until you're done. Once you're done, you can reward yourself by that one that is maybe useless, but it would be really fun, right? So you can reward yourself by saying, oh, I've got to finish because I can do that one fun thing I've been wanting to do for weeks.
That's a great overachiever reward. Reward yourself for achieving with another achievement you can do.
Yeah, I know. Well, if it's chocolate is your thing, reward yourself with chocolate. Like if that's your thing, don't feel bad about it. Whatever gets you past, here's my 3, and I'm going to focus on those 3, and I'm totally the person who'll not focus and wander.
Yeah.
So I just have to push to focus on things.
Because you said refocus and reimagine. So some of us, we just need to refocus to get some of the things that we really feel are the priority things done.
Yeah.
And of course, the reimagining helps get us motivated and things like that. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, like what kind of things do you offer people? Like if they're saying, she sounds so cool, like I would definitely want to get together with her, like what kind of service does she give? Like what would you tell them?
So if you're interested in anything or you're not even sure, if you want an additional income stream, right, that you think, if you have knowledge of any sort, I can help you monetize it on Amazon. I'm huge on making a win-win. So I've done what I call partnering. Product partnering is what I'm going to call it. To partner on, you have the expertise and the knowledge of your realm, whatever your realm is. And then I have the expertise and knowledge how to creatively package it on Amazon in probably like 50 different ways. I could think if I sat down with somebody, I could start pulling off ideas and saying, oh, you could do this, you could do this. And you could create branded stuff and then unbranded stuff. And so kind of the idea is I would help focus you on the things that would be most profitable and easiest to create. And then I'll make that stuff for you because I have a ton of templates. I have the skills. I can whip it up pretty quick. Whereas you, it might take, months. Whereas me, it'd take 24 hours and I'd be done. So I can do that. And then we can put it together on, I can post it on Amazon and do all that sort of stuff. And we split the profits. So
that is so cool. Like, especially for people who are like, I've always wanted to do that, but I don't have time to learn that. Or I just know that I would hate doing that.
Yeah, no, I know. And I love it. I've spent the past 5 years focusing on Amazon and publishing and creating. And I have every tool known to mankind because I'm a techie. I love tools. So I've bought way too many things that some are useful and some are not. So, I love to do it. And so if you don't have the time, I have the skill set. So for me, the time is much shorter than it would be for you. And I am happy to help because I am not an expert in social media. So, if you're an expert in that, then you can provide the expertise and I can provide, how to frame it and post it and put it up there and covers and all that stuff that you're like, wow, that's overwhelming. For me, it's like, I can do that no problem.
That is super awesome. So how do people get in touch with you?
I guess just chat me or my email. Should I just say my email? My email is ashschmidt, ASHSCHMITT00 @gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time. And this is so exciting. I think you're going to get a lot of takers for, the help that you're offering because it's like a wonderful thing to get your products out there, your name out there. And what a great way to use that online Amazon platform to do so. And then here you are a resource for so many. So thank you again for the time that you spent with us. Thank you for being a part of our network. And we look forward to seeing more of your projects come to life. And
Hopefully, we'll see. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
we'll
so
take
much for
care of you
having
during
me.
this time. You're so
Thank you.
welcome. Next up, we have Kathleen, and Kathleen is in Williamsburg, and she's a fairly new PWN member. So welcome, Kathleen. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much.
And it's Kathleen DeZormo, correct?
Correct.
Yay, I pronounced it right. So excellent. So what's your topic today?
My topic is creation for preservation's sake, with talking about how we can both relieve stress and create works of art or written works or videos or that kind of things during the time of COVID that can be used later on to share with future generations or policymakers our perspective and how our lives were impacted, so we can be better prepared for future events, whether it be natural disasters or pandemics.
So that is really cool because, you know, I know some people love to be creative and to begin with, but you're saying that during this time that we're experiencing, we should definitely do something with the pandemic in mind, or what are you mentioning specifically here?
I would say a little bit of both. One, feed that creativity side, but two, one of the things that historians and policymakers will look back on when they study this time is how did it impact lives? And so frequently over time, we only have evidence left, whether it be artwork or written works and stuff from elite groups during periods of warfare or plague or economic distress. And we're in a unique position with all the tools that we have and all the access to reach across the world electronically or via writing, where we can go ahead and share our individual stories. So policymakers, historians, and academics, as they study this time period and come up with solutions and ideas for how can we make life better during the next disaster, can see how it impacted the average person, where we couldn't do that necessarily always in the past.
That's a really neat thing to think about and to study. Now, for your background, like what got you into this?
Well, what's got me into it? I've always been a major history enthusiast all my life growing up. My parents were big time into history and took me to historical and heritage sites. And then as I've gotten older, I've always been a problem solver in my career. I was in claims for many, many years, and my specialty was catastrophe as well as process improvement to take care of insureds during catastrophe. And then additionally, I decided to pursue my passion and study what's called public history. And public history is you study history like a traditional historian, but additionally you have business components to it. So you learn how to do digital marketing, historical site management, look at tourism and how people view history, whether it be through advertisement or music or going to a heritage site, what type of trades and practices do different areas and different communities have that make it special and unique so people want to visit that place. So public history is a really neat way to bring the business world and the historical world together.
Well, that's super neat that you landed here. In Williamsburg, Newport News, Yorktown, very historic areas. Was that purposeful that you ended up here?
It was kind of purposeful, kind of not. We had my husband's job in San Antonio. The government did away with the position down there and then offered, had another company offer him a position up here. And we were familiar with the area and we had several job offers come into him. And we looked at it and we really love Virginia because of the history, we like the climate up here. It's fairly moderate. It's not super cold and it's not super hot. Even during the summer, some people are like, it gets hot. Yeah, it does a little bit. But after living in Texas for 10 years, perspective there. And then additionally, we had been stationed in Norfolk previously when my husband was active duty, and lastly, I have family up here. My parents and my grandmother are up here, so that's why we're in.
Wow. Everything just sounded like it aligned for you. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it definitely did.
Now let me ask you, because there's a lot more virtual stuff, there's a lot more electronic stuff, and you're talking about preservation. we can't really kind of foresee how we're going to view certain things like this or anything else digital that we made. So how would you advise people to like capture their art if it is like using a platform like this? Like what would need to happen in order to really preserve that in the right way?
Well, I would say we need to do two things if we're using digital, because digital is problematic because it constantly evolves, and then our storage devices have a limited lifespan. So one, I would say if you're going to use Zoom or what we call oral history, so when you verbally record yourself talking about an event or subject that you want to tell the story of, that it be documented both online. So put it in the cloud, put it in some place where it can be stored for longevity, not necessarily on hardware, but it would be good to have backup on hardware. Take the time to download the video to your phone, to a computer, to a backup drive, whatever piece of hardware you think has the longest longevity. I wouldn't recommend a USB stick or, you know, CDs. I mean, if people are even still recording on that material. But the other second option that you have is that you'll see a lot of public history organizations, museums, historical societies start reaching out to the community already asking, would you be willing to do an interview with us? And so they have online resources where they can preserve those interviews if you're using video or you want to give the interview orally, because you usually have the option in that situation to use what you've already pre-recorded and donate it to them, or to sit down with one of their interviewers and participate in that. So by giving it to an archive that to store that information and participating on that level, they can have some resources that we don't, that help preserve the electronic media much longer.
That is neat to know. Because for me, of course, I work with a lot of photographers, and myself being a photographer, my thing with people is that, hey, you have a special event, get those pictures printed.
Yes.
You know, don't just let it live inside your computer and inside your phone, because one thing is when you have a physical picture, you can always make contact negatives from those. So, because I'm sure you doing your research, you're probably pouring through a lot of pictures, and if those weren't preserved, you probably wouldn't have the clues to the past, right?
Absolutely. Imagery is very important, and artwork, you know, along those lines too. You know, historians and archaeologists and anthropologists are going to look at a lot more than just the written word. I mean, writing down and putting it on paper, if that's your thing, that's fabulous. And you definitely do it. You know, your family will thank you, prior generations will thank, or sorry, yeah, I guess preceding wrong word too, future generations. Sorry. Future generations.
Well, if they travel to the future.
Yeah. There we go. So future generations will thank you for doing that, or genealogists, as people want to understand what individuals went through or what their family members went through during this time. But absolutely printing it. And then art is another wonderful medium that we have to go back and look at what were the paintings like at the time. Did they change theme? Did they focus on, you know, COVID and, you know, have more fearful themes or themes of death, or did they have hopeful moments? Did they give hope? Did you see a brighter perspective where you have an artist really finding a new side of themselves, or you know, a filmographer or photographer finding this new lens to view life through and presenting a total shift in their artwork? That stuff will be looked at and definitely considered what we call primary source evidence for what people are going through during this time. And it's, again, so important. And we're lucky to live in an age that we can do that, because that way we understand what the broader population and world went through versus just those that had the means.
That's excellent. And I know, like, for me, journaling fits a little bit of what you're saying, because it's a way for me to preserve, like, exactly that concept, what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, you know, in the written format. And that when I look back on it and read something that I did 10 years ago, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
really kind of brings back all the different details too, because of having that journal. Do you journal?
I do journal, not as often as, you know, I probably should. But I do when I get stressed. It helps me sort through my feelings and my thoughts and what's going on. And then when I need to remind myself of what I'm thankful for, when things are going right. So for, you know, I'll intentionally take time out every couple weeks, write down what's going well, what's not, you know, because I kind of use it as a lessons learned. not only with business, but I like to apply some of those business principles into my personal life. How can I improve on something, whether it's a new hobby or starting a new workout or whatever. So doing that, it's nice because you can see your professional growth over time. The other thing that's interesting is seeing, again, like I talked about, that perspective shift. How we viewed something 10 years ago is not necessarily how I view it now.
That's exactly right. Now, some of us are parents, and how do you suggest promoting creativity at this moment with our children?
At this moment with your children, I think that you should give them some raw materials. Your parents, your kids best, whether they're going to grasp onto the paintbrush or whether they're going to want to take the crayon and draw or the pencil and write. But give them the freedom and encourage them to sit down and work. The distraction's good for them, and it's definitely interesting to get their perspective, and they may surprise you with how they share their viewpoint of the times through creative medium. So I would say tailor it, but definitely give them the opportunity. Schoolwork's important. We should all definitely be keeping focused on that through the distance learning, but give them that creative outlet too. And that moment of release might reduce any stress or anxiety that they're feeling in dealing with this. It also may refuel that desire. Well, I want to go learn more because I just found this picture of this and I drew it, and whatever the case.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know for me, whenever I love being creative, so when I get assigned something from school, I always was the one to made it 10 times extra.
Yes.
Poster, yeah, my poster would not be like everybody else's poster, right? But
Yeah.
Speaking of being a little bit more extra, you had on the first time I met you the most beautiful pair of earrings, and then when you told me you made them, I was just blown away. So tell me about those earrings.
Okay, well, I actually happen to have those earrings on today.
Oh, that's the earrings. Oh, that's so amazing.
My favorite color, and I always feel confident in purple, so I like to wear purple when I interview or do something like this. But the earrings that I make is part of the type of jewelry that I make for visual storytelling. For me, they're a wonderful way to get creative. They're a wonderful way to have stress relief, and it's a way to share culture, history, and tradition with people all around the world. I was introduced to what's called soutache jewelry, which is what these are made from. It's a lightweight ribbon that's on military uniforms that comes in all different colors and all different shades. And so it provides a nice lightweight piece of jewelry to wear that I mix with stone, buttons, little paintings, cameo pieces, whatever I can find to do as a centerpiece. And I like to embroider the ribbon around. What attracted me to the jewelry, besides its colorfulness and the fact that you can wear these big artsy pieces, but they're very lightweight on the body, was exactly what my passions are: history and heritage. I went and studied abroad in Urbino, Italy. And every Saturday they have big markets out there where you can go out and buy crafts, or, they have little weekend festivals, very similar like the Williamsburg Farmers Market. And they're second Sundays, but they kind of do it more frequently over there than I think I've seen stateside. And all the little artisans come out, and there were these ladies with these fabulous earrings and these necklaces, and it's like nothing I'd really seen before stateside, because it's all hand stitched and all hand done. And so I started asking, how do you make this? What is it made out of? What attracted you to it? And so it's interesting because it's a tradition that's going on for centuries for a lot of these people. And it's multicultural because it has all these different European schools. It's got a French school to it. It's got an Italian school to it. It's got, I know artists from Russia and Romania that, have adapted this soutache military braid into wearable art. And they all add their own little touch to it as you go through.
That's awesome that you're bringing that here, because that was really the first time I've gotten introduced to that. And I like hearing the word soutache and saying it. So now, what's your company called, so that if people are very interested in learning more about what you do and then the jewelry that you make?
Okay, my company is called Connections Across Time. And I've got a website that's out there they can find me on. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram and Facebook than I am Twitter, but you can reach out to me. And then they can also email me at connectacrosstime@icloud.com if they want to learn more about the jewelry or talk about history and heritage.
Amazing stuff. Thank you for your time today. And I think a lot of people are learning so much from all the different points of views that we're sharing today. And definitely you're a gift to our organization. So I really appreciate you being a member and all the things that you're contributing to our meetings and everything like that. So thanks so much. And I hope that you are going to be producing lots of awesome new creative things with all the stuff going around. So we'd love to see some of your work that comes from this.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me today.
Absolutely. Up next, we have Cindy Norge, who's based in Yorktown, Virginia. Cindy, what topic are you going to be talking about today?
Keep your body moving while you're at home.
That is a fantastic topic because I know some of us, especially me, are in front of the computer a lot more right now because we're trying to do our Zoom calls or our meetings and things like that. So how long have you been, well, first of all, what business are you with?
I own Country Bootleggers Dance Studio in Yorktown on Route 17.
Perfect. And how long have you owned this business?
Well, guess what? April the 18th of this year, it will be 26 years.
Wow. Yay. Congratulations. Everybody should congratulate Cindy.
Thank you.
That is an awesome accomplishment. So, okay. So you're at home too, of course, because everybody's ordered to be at home if you're not essential. What kind of things are you focusing on while you're at home, especially because you're a dancer, you're used to moving all the time?
Yes, absolutely. And dancers, they're all getting this itch that you can't go out dancing because it's a contact sport. You hold hands, you get into closed positions. So of course you can't do that right now. So what we are offering for our students and for anyone, our weekly group lessons online for free, but donations are always welcome.
That is pretty cool. And I know that, so with people who aren't used to dancing, they can definitely check it out, right? It's less intimidating.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great way. We have beginner classes starting from the beginning, from your left foot to your right foot. And it's also good you can do that in your own home. So you don't have to go to the studio. And you can do it in your pajamas if you like. And you can get the whole family interactive in the dances. We do things like line dancing that you don't need a partner. And you can get the whole family, kids and all, move everything out of the way, gets a little bit exercise. And then for your partners, we have a lot of different classes that we offer as well. And they're weekly. We're going to do this until until the studio can be open for regular classes.
That makes a lot of sense. So what are the benefits of dancing and moving? What have you found to be the best benefits of that?
Well, it's to build, well, for one thing, in the regular world, it was good to meet new friends, reconnect with new friends, and also get the family together, especially now with the time that we can't go out, that we're kind of locked into the house. You know, people are trying to find different ways to get the family reconnected in different ways. And then, of course, couples. You know, with our busy schedule, we used to have partners. Dances were always hard because, you know, you had one parent going one way, another parent going the other way, or, you know, your spouse did one thing and your spouse went another way. Well, now, since we're all kind of supposed to be entertained at the house, it's a good way to get your partners, your loved ones together and do something in your own home, in your own house, clear things out. And it's something that you can do as a partner and rebuild that connection between a relationship.
Do you find that it also helps you in your physical well-being? Like, do you find that you lose weight when you dance?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Studies always shows that dancing, you can lose weight. It will increase your blood pressure. People who have Parkinson's disease and other kind of illness, it's also good for them. You move your body, and line dancing is good for Alzheimer's. You know, the steps are not the hardest. It's remembering what steps go next. So absolutely, dancing is good for a lot of physical illness. Exercise is great for, like I said, losing weight. And it's fun to do. I mean, you know, it's really fun. Dancing's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful. And of course, a lot of people are having problems right now with depression, staying home. So this will kind of release the depression as well. Try something different. Set your schedule to our weekly dance classes and get engaged. That's what this is all about, trying to get engaged and try something different.
I like that because I think your brain needs the stimulation, and when you're moving, you definitely get more of that. And I think if you mentioned this to me earlier that you, it's a good way to stop snacking.
Yes, yes, yeah, because I know a lot of people, you know, at this time, you know, when you're kind of in the house, the only places you can go is like to the grocery store or restaurant, takeout orders. Okay, so both of those, you go out to get food. So when you do the takeout, you know, make sure you try to eat healthy. But to offset that, this dance classes, weekly dance classes at Country Bootleggers Dance Studio is a great way to try to stay fit and try to lose the weight and not overeat at this time that we have to stay home. Absolutely.
Can you tell us who the different instructors are that's part of your studio?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to brag on my students. I mean, my instructors, they are fantastic. They have volunteered their time to do a pre-recorded video weekly of their class that they were really regularly redoing at the studio. So I like to start off, I'll start off with the day of the week. On Mondays, I have Sonia Davis. She's from Williamsburg, and she does my line dance classes on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, we offer our West Coast Swing class. My husband, Mike, and I have an assistant, Joe Corso. He helps us out on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I have Zumba, and her name is Elizabeth Tran, and she's also from Newport News. And then on Thursdays, I have country two-step with Brian and Melinda Evans, and they're also from Newport News. And then Fridays, we do intermediate salsa and bachata, and also on Sundays. And my Latin instructor is Day Day. Her name is Debbie Anderson. And she's also from Newport News, and she's also fantastic. So she does salsa and bachata. And then on Sunday, we have ballroom instructors. We have Scott and Julia, and they do the rumba, foxtrot, tango, and all of the ballroom classes. So they do that on Sunday. So that's a little bit of our schedule and my instructors. And I do have a lot of guest instructors who come in, and we're going to do dances on monthly. So you have to check us out. We have a lot of things, but those are my fantastic instructors at Country Bootleggers Dance Studio.
Yay, what a friendly bunch. And then I know that being in the dance community myself, it's just wonderful people, loving people, and very friendly people. So it's always nice to connect with everybody that way. And especially when you have friendly instructors, it's not so intimidating to learn new things, which is awesome. Yeah. So for you, like, do you have a favorite dance like that you do with your husband? Like, what's y'all's favorite?
Well, since my husband and I've been dancing since the late 90s, I guess. I guess maybe started, actually 89, actually. And I started with line dancing, and then I went to country. I used to compete in country. And then I started doing West Coast Swing, and I fell in love with West Coast Swing. So that's what Mike and I love to do. We go to competitions, we compete in West Coast Swing and the hustle. So that's mine, but I do like the waltz, which is very elegant. I like the cha-cha. I like the salsa, that's kind of cool. And the country two-step, of course. So they all have their own style, but what Mike and I really like to do is the West Coast Swing. And one good thing I'd like to say, Marilyn, really quickly too, is that Country Bootleggers Dance Studio is a little bit different than other studios, is because our instructors are professionals in what they teach. So what I mean by that is that my country two-step, Brian Melinda, they teach only the two-step, and they live and breathe that. Because they take different classes, they take different pros to get better in what that style of dancing is. Day, a Latin instructor, she does the same thing. She only teaches Latin. Scott and Julia, they only teach ballroom. And then Mike and I only teach West Coast Swing. That way, because it's hard to get an instructor to teach all different style of dancing, because all dances rotate so much, so quickly, that there's no way that you can really focus on 1 or 5 or 6 dances at one time. There's no way you can do that. So that's just something you might want to think about when you're looking for other places to take classes.
That is so good to know. And I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time out this morning and introducing yourself to some of our new members as well, since, of course, this is going to be for the Peninsula Women's Network. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with Peninsula Women's Network?
Yes, I love Peninsula Women's Network. I've been in the organization, I guess, 15 years, off and on. I started with it years ago. I just kind of stopped a little bit, kind of put it on the back burner. And the last couple years, I've been really active in that. I really feel like it works. Great women to work with, like yourself, Marilyn. I know you are a fantastic person and a great leader of the PWN. You're doing a fantastic job. And I get to meet so many people, so many women in other businesses, and we get to network together. So I get to go to, sometimes you have, right now we do a lot of Zoom meetings, but before
Yes.
you have a meet and greet. And
Socials,
I love it. Oh, it's
exactly.
so personal. I love it. So yeah, if you're not a member of the PWN, Peninsula Women Network, you really need to get engaged and get connected, because they have a lot of opportunities for small businesses up to large businesses. It's a great place to do. Yes,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really nice sisterhood, and I'm so glad for the people that I've met, like yourself, and then all the wonderful leaders in our community that come from here. Well, Cindy, where do we find your website, and how do we get in contact with you if we have any more questions about what it is that you do, or if we just want to network with you?
yes, I would love to tell you that. Please visit us on my website, and that is www.countrybootleggers.com, or you can visit us on our Facebook page, which is Country Bootleggers page on Facebook. So everything is all about Country Bootleggers Dance Studio. My phone number, if you want to call, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. My number is 757-898-1922. So, like I said, I would love to answer any questions I can. Please visit my webpage and my Facebook page. And if I can give you a heads up, can you like my videos that we're posting and share my videos? I would love that. I would appreciate your help. And thank you in advance for your support. And yeah, that's my information. I'm here if
Thank you,
you need anything.
Cindy. Yeah, absolutely. And
Yes.
of course, you'll see Cindy inside our membership platform and also in the Facebook group that we have for women. So I appreciate your time today. You are a fantastic instructor, a fantastic community leader. So happy that you took the time to do this interview today. I appreciate you.
Oh, Marilyn, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm glad to do it. And like I said, you are doing a fantastic job of being the president of the PWN. I really appreciate all your help and everything that you're doing for the organization. And like I said, if you're not a PWN member, you need to be right now. I'm sure on the web page, there's places that you can sign up and you can join. You will not be disappointed. So,
Thank you so much, Cindy.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm Cindy, with the owner of Country Bootleggers Dance Studio. So thanks for listening to me and sharing your time with me today. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'm very excited about our new guest. Her name is Catherine, and she's been a member of PWN for a while. So Catherine, what topic are you going to cover with us today?
Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about turning down that stress level a bit during the COVID-19.
Very important. Yeah, I love that. So what is it that you do exactly, Catherine? Like what's your company called? And then what is your title?
Sure. I own Elements for Personal Healing, LLC. And as you can tell from that, I deal with the 5 elements, or Chinese medicine, as well as Eastern medicine. So I deal with chakras and everything too. And I'm a holistic practitioner and certified in the modalities of Body Talk, Acuconnect. I'm completing my certification for EFT. I also do craniosacral fascial release. And the nice thing about right now, since we're all at home, is that I can also do distance sessions, which means you get to be in the comfort of your own home, while whether we're FaceTiming, doing it by phone, or doing it by Zoom. We have so many possibilities now, and we can have, a wonderful session. They are equally, if not more powerful than doing the in-person sessions. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I can't get over to her. What am I going to do? I need to be able to calm my system down. I need to get the nervous system back in gear so that I can deal with just every day.
Yeah, what a relief that you're offering that and reminding us that it doesn't have to be in person. So let's say you're at home like me and everybody else, and you have like things that you still have to manage. Like I have 5 kids. Mm-hmm. What is like the starting point that I really need to work with? If let's say I can't get in contact with you right now, but I'm feeling some kind of stress, what do you advise for people to start doing?
Well, everything starts and ends with the breath. And it sounds very simplistic, but it is really that basic. And if you can take that moment, I don't care if it's 1 minute, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, I don't care if you get you and all 5 kids in the room doing it together, because that's a good kind of bonding experience. Just being able to tune into your body and mind, and being able to just focus on that breath. Where is it going in? Where are you feeling the tension in the body? Take the breath there. Allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Because when we don't allow ourselves and our body, mind, and spirit to do something as simple as breathing, we stay in what we call a stress breath. And that stress breath means that those shoulders are going up and down, but that diaphragm's not moving. So a stress breath, it looks like this. Your shoulders don't breathe for you. Now, I'm also a speech pathologist. I can tell you where the lungs are and what everything's supposed to be doing. Your shoulders don't. They will naturally move a little bit with the breath, but your breath comes here and it comes here to the diaphragm, if you can see. And your diaphragm's, above your waist. So think, for the women, it's just below that bra line. And it needs to move. So your ribs should be moving in and out, and the shoulders should be relaxed. If that's difficult for you, there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can put your hands on your shoulders just naturally, and that's going to help keep the shoulders down. And then your elbows will naturally provide that feedback for knowing, they're going to go up and down, when just naturally, not me forcing them up and down, just to get the breath in and out. We want that breath going down through the abdomen, through the hips, down through the legs, and down through the feet. So it's all about grounding right now. And we are blessed that we are coming into springtime, which is our growth time, or what we call our wood element time. You've probably heard about the 5 elements with, the wood, water, earth, and the metal, and they all work together, and they're all supposed to flow together. So when one gets off track, eventually they will all get off track, kind of like dominoes falling. And
yeah, and it's kind of like we have that balance internally because, we take in minerals, we take in, we're always like touching things and like getting in contact with nature. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Do you ever find that people are like, what are you talking about, Catherine? Like, what do you tell people like when they're like, you're just saying things that I'm not, what are you talking about?
This is frou-frou, isn't it? It's voodoo. It's like, no, I don't do voodoo. What it is, it's about how everything in your life can come back to those 5 elements and how all of the meridians have to work together, just like all your chakras have to work together. Your whole body, mind, and spirit. If the mind is off in fight or flight or survival mode, think of that going into that panic mode. None of us have been there the last month, have we? Then the body is not going to get all the information that it needs in order to work. So your body will go back into that survivor mode where the most important things are going to get the energy. The rest of it, forget it. That's where we start the stiffness and the aches and pains and the things that we know that life's not flowing for us. Only we may be so far into it, we don't know why. And that's where I come in, that I help get you out of that stress mode, get you out of your own way, so that you can breathe, so that you can move. And then you can go dance to Cindy's dance classes online. You can go take some free yoga classes, and that's always very helpful. Your body relies on movement. That's what your spleen wants, and your stomach. Those are your earth element. The fact that we're in springtime on a really nice day, kick those shoes off and go out in the yard. Get your hands in the dirt, because that's where you're having the earth feed you. That's good natural energy.
They say earthing, like I know Kim Giltom has been showing pictures of her feet on the earth, earthing.
Yes. And and I can highly recommend, if you don't have the ability to, go out and get those bare feet in there, go to earthing.com and get yourself an earthing mat. It plugs in. It does not plug into the electricity part. It plugs into your grounding circuit of your plug. And then you just get those bare feet on the mat, and it does the same thing, because what it's doing is it's pulling the grounding energy. We've spent way too much time wearing rubber-soled shoes and being in our houses and being in front of our computers, and we are energy. We're electromagnetic energy. Everything in your room right now is electromagnetic energy, including you. And now we're forced to even be around it more so we can communicate with our loved ones. A bit of it is good. But if that's all we're doing is feeding it with all of this energy, because now they're trying to get up to 5G coverage, it sounds great, but don't you start feeling a little loopy after a while being on the computer? That you're disconnected and that things just aren't flowing.
Yeah, so it's good to say, let's unplug, get back to nature and things like that. Now, for someone who may be feeling under the weather, because there's a lot of allergies too, and then you're talking about breathing, and then you're talking about, we're talking about the reason why we're all inside right now. There's like a virus that's pretty, scary, formidable as far as, attacking the breath as well.
Yeah.
Like, what do you suggest to people who may be kind of like, all right, I'm under the weather. What can I do if I'm having trouble breathing? Like, what else can I work on at this moment?
Well, I can show you a very simple thing to calm the brain, calm the brain, and you're going to bring the body back into it for a connection.
Yes, please show us.
And I also teach this in my I Connect self-care class, which is coming up April 17th, and I'm very excited. It's my first online class. We're turning it into a webinar. It's always been a live in-person class, so that's exciting. I'll be getting the information out on that. But very, very simply, there's 2 methods that I use depending on what I feel like. The very simplest is AccuNect we call it MF brain balancing. And yeah, MF brain can mean anything to you, but it's the masculine and feminine brain, your left brain, right brain. And just bringing the head, the hands to the head. You can go on the head or slightly off. And you can do this with your family too. If someone's having a panic moment or a chaos moment. And just bringing that, because you're bringing that intention to bring the masculine and the feminine back in together. Masculine's left, feminine is right. Houston, we have a problem. Okay, let's deal with it. And that way we can solve it. Taking a good deep breath in, and you can do eyes open or eyes closed. It doesn't matter which. And then you're going to tap over the head and the heart. So why are we tapping over the head and heart? Because we're bringing the mind, the head brain, and we're bringing the body, and the heart represents the body. We're bringing that intention in, and we're bringing that energy in and saying, guys, we need you to connect. We need the energy to flow, because you literally have 3 brains. So you could also go to the 3rd brain, which is your gut brain, and tap over your navel also. But this one's really good to start with. And you just do it for good at 2 to 3 deep breaths, or until your hands naturally stop. And as you can see, the hand over my head has stopped already. Up now, the one over my heart has stopped, because that's your body and mind going, cool, we got this. Now
that was automatically like calming. Like I was like, oh.
Very calming. And sometimes you can just feel that rush of energy. It's almost like having someone just kind of drop water over your head and go, ooh, that feels so good.
Are you able to do this like to another person? Like if I was to start tapping in somebody? Okay.
Yes. If I was doing it distance for you right now, say you were one of my clients, I would have you on my table. I'm sitting at my therapy table right now and bringing you in where, okay, I've got your head between my hands, and then I'm just tapping. So you can do this with your family, your friends, your pets. Your pets will pick up on your energy.
Oh, yes.
Pets are like babies. They pick up on the energy of the parents and the owners, and so if we're seeing our kids being in chaos and going crazy, we've got to look back at ourselves first. What is my energy like? And when we can look at that, we can go, all right, I got this. All right, let me calm myself down.
Nice. It's like me when I'm clapping. I'm like, I'm like, that's perfect. Well, thank you for such wonderful tips. And I just know that, somebody who might be watching this may already feel like a sigh of relief, because here's some really great tools that they can do. And then remind us the date again for that class that you're going to be teaching.
April 17th.
April 17th.
They can go to my website and sign up. It's elementsforpersonalhealing.com. It's a great investment in yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the class, I will be mailing you a manual as well as your certificate. That.
Oh.
You're going to learn techniques, what all the meridians do, how to balance them out in 2 to 3 minutes. Because anything longer than that, we just don't do.
Right. And people can earn CE credits?
If you're a certified massage therapist, this class is approved for giving 3 CEs.
Wow. It's a good way to like spend some time. And then
you're not going to work. You go ahead and get your CEs done.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Myself too.
So, so you have that coming up, but can people also, like I think you already mentioned, but they can get in touch with you for one-on-one sessions?
Yes, they can get in touch with me one-on-one sessions. They can either go to my website and email me through that. And I'm taking payments through my website now, which is, good. And, or they can call me at 757-598-2065, or they can email me at personalhealing1@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Get a good session and be able to, get your life back in gear. This is going to happen. We're going to have stress points.
Yeah.
We're seeing this worldwide. We're all meant to come and take that pause right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And then since most of the people that will be hearing this message are members of Peninsula Women's Network, do you have anything to say to your fellow ladies?
Yes, PWN members, I have a special coupon code for a 10% discount for my class. So if you go and you sign up, at my website, you'll see, I can, or you email me first, I can send you the code. And I also give a 10% discount for PWN members for energy balancing sessions too.
That's so wonderful. So what do you feel like is the best benefit of being a PWN member?
Oh gosh, the camaraderie is great. And being able to hook up with women that, I guess that didn't sound right, did it? Being able to get together with women.
Get together.
Get together with women.
Hang out.
Yeah, that we can pick each other's brains, so to speak, and give each other ideas. And I've met so many wonderful women in this group, and it's empowering. I guess that's the best word to say.
Yes.
It's empowering.
Definitely is. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate you taking the time today for teaching us so many great tips and to connect with us. And we look forward to gathering again in person at some point and then sharing all this wonderful energy. And then maybe we can tell you like how much it's benefited us, getting us through these moments because of the things that you taught us today. So really, really appreciate you. Thank you again for your time.
And I totally forgot, I do have a Facebook business site. It's Elements for Personal Healing. Go and hit like, and you'll see, I'm putting more stuff out there. And
Yay, good job. Yeah, woo-hoo. Innovating all together. Thanks again, Catherine. We'll see you and we'll be liking your stuff and we appreciate you very much.
Great, thank you.
All right, up next we have Yvonne Ortega. Yvonne Ortega has been a member of PWN for a long time. And Yvonne, what is your topic that you're going to be covering today?
Creating new dreams for the divorced person. And I know that we have many among us, and then we have those who are divorced and then remarried. And there's so many different complications that come into the picture. And during this pandemic, we have even more.
Absolutely. And when it comes to like some of the things that you've done personally, so before we get into your topic, like what is your background?
My background is as a professional speaker, a counselor, a teacher, a mentor, and a coach. And I am a certified speaking and writing coach. And I enjoy watching women and men too, but especially women. That's where my heart is many times, is in helping women, because whether we want to admit it or not, that glass ceiling is still there. And a woman can be older and she's not recognized for her wisdom, for her experience. Her age is held against her. Whereas for a man, that's not as often the case.
That's very true. And then you've also written books, correct?
Yes, I've done the traditional way of publication, and I've also done the indie publishing. And what I tell people is, regardless of whether you choose the traditional or the indie, write to industry standards. Because when you indie publish, you take your book, and in most cases, it goes to what I call the parking garage. It's parked there. They're not going to edit for you.
That makes sense. Okay, so now back to the topic that you were speaking about. So we're obviously going through something major in our world, and to complicate things, some people are also going through relationship issues. So what are some ways that if we're going through a divorce or are divorced, what are some things that you want us to keep in mind during this time?
This is a difficult time, no matter how you look at it, whether you are the one who filed or the one who was served with divorce papers. It's a stressful time. And when we are in crises the way we are right now, who do you talk with? Who can you trust with your innermost secrets, with your thoughts, with your struggles, with all the pain that you are experiencing. And for the person who got served, maybe there's shame and guilt. I should have said this. I should have done that. Why didn't I do such and such? Why did I do that? And the if onlys, and the if onlys can just about choke us to death. So we need to remember that with God, there is no condemnation. And with God, we can create new dreams. Yes. And I say this as a divorced person. When your dream is shattered, create a new dream that matters.
And maybe the separation time, let's say you are facing different things, but you have now that ability to be at home, to really kind of settle in your thoughts, and like you're saying, rebuild the new dream. So how do people, like, okay, let's say I'm feeling better about my situation, but I want to approach this dream without a lot of baggage that I'm dragging into it. Like, what kind of advice do you give people in that manner?
I tell people, unless you are whole and healed, if you jump into a relationship, you will jump into a relationship with someone who is not whole, is not healed, and two crippled people can't stand up together. And they're looking to each other to take care of all their needs and be everything and everyone to them. No one can do that. That's an impossible expectation. And we will be shattered again. I've talked with people who have said, oh, if only I had waited. I got into something worse than what I had before. And I know of a particular case right now. On a rebound, a woman took in a man. And now she's moved, she's living with him, and it's a nightmare.
And especially now, if you're quarantined together, that's even worse, right?
How do you get away from one another?
So making those wise decisions, having the time frame to work on yourself to become that whole person that you're speaking about. And so how important are friends during that kind of time, or especially this time? How important are they?
Friends are crucial. And I tell people right now, lean on friends through Facebook, Skype, FaceTime, text, call one another. We can't get through this alone. We need one another. And during a pandemic, when we can't go out or say that we have some complications that make it difficult, asthma, diabetes, low blood sugar, any of those things can jeopardize your health all the more. And when you go out there, you don't even know that you're being exposed. There could be somebody who's not practicing social distancing. They are too close to you. They don't look sick, but days later, they're going to be quite sick. And also, if we think back to the SARS epidemic, there were people who were carriers who didn't know it. They exposed other people to the SARS virus, not intentionally, but through ignorance. And ignorance is not bliss, not in that case.
No, and not in the case of right now. So I read something that go ahead and assume that you're infected and then go through the world as if, so that you are, adding that extra bit of responsibility. So whether it's our emotions, like you're talking about, our relationships, our health, and what we might be encountering that's even invisible out there. I like how you're saying, like, being aware, is key, and being responsible for yourself is key. So for you, like, how are you coping with this whole scenario? Because I know that you've had a pretty, tough history that you've gotten through. You yourself have been healed from cancer, but that's kind of one of those underlying conditions that people are mentioning right now. So how do you keep your mindset in the right direction?
Each day, I write down at least 5 things that I'm thankful for. That attitude of gratitude is real important. It's so easy to look and say, well, this is wrong and that's wrong, and I can't get to the grocery store and I need toilet paper, and on. We can moan and groan. But that will not help us. All that negative talk drags us down. It poisons our system. We need to be upbeat and thank God for everything we do have. And thank God for the friends we have. Thank God for what the internet can do. I am not the queen of the internet, trust me, but I'm learning more things, and I'm enjoying everything that I've already learned about connecting with other people through the internet. And PWN does a wonderful job of doing that. Thank you, Marilyn.
Oh, you're so welcome. I learned from you all. I learned from the best. And, one thing that I try to keep in my heart and in my head is the experiences that when I was a new member and going to these different socials and stuff like that, just how warm you all were, and the environment that the membership, and especially the ones who've been in the membership for so long, like you have, you really get some inspiration for that. And so I'm trying to take that whole energy and bring it about online. So I really do appreciate you taking the time today to talk to us. Now, I know, like myself, there's people that we lose during times like this, and there's, it's a constant thing that there's people that you love, and eventually you're going to go through some grief. I know that you've written about that subject. Can you tell us some of the books that you have available, so that if we're looking up some of your work that might be able to help us out, could you give us those titles?
Moving from Broken to Beautiful, 9 life lessons to help you move forward. And I learned every one of them the hard way. The second book is Moving from Broken to Beautiful Through Forgiveness. And really, I could have accurately named it, How to Forgive When You Don't Want to. If anyone went kicking and screaming and stomping and, no, God, I don't want to, I was the one. And my third book, the very first one was the one on cancer, Finding Hope for Your Journey Through Breast Cancer. And then Moving from Broken to Beautiful, 9 life lessons to help you move forward. Then Moving from Broken to Beautiful Through Forgiveness. And the last one that I wrote, the fourth one, Moving from Broken to Beautiful Through Grief. And I waited 9 years before I started writing that book, because I had lost within 7 months 2 aunts, my mother, and my only child. Mama before Mother's Day, and my only child 3 days after Mother's Day. And as I was writing that book, I thought, well, now is the perfect time. All of this is way behind me. Daddy was diagnosed with dementia. And my lifelong friend that I talked with each Sunday afternoon told me she had pancreatic cancer and had 3 months at most to live. I dropped everything. What was more important than the book was these relationships. I visited Daddy. I visited Sharon. And Sharon went into hospice a day and a half before I left. But we made it a fun time. I said, I'm not going to cry. I am going to give you a send-off to heaven. Every day will be a celebration of your new home. And every day we'll do something different that you haven't done. And we did. But I do admit that at the airport, when I said goodbye until heaven, I lost it. I sobbed. I said, I'm sorry. I told you I would be crying. But for me, it's sad. But when you get there, hug my son. Hug mama. She knew my family. And that brought me joy.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, and I think it's good for us to, you know, focus on our, you know, current things that we're trying to deal with, whether it's like your finances, your home, or your health. But I like how you brought it back to relationships matter, and that we're here for each other. You know, check in on your friends that are alone, check in on people who are going through separation, divorce, and then check in on people who are sick, and just kind of, you know, feel open to be human and to express these emotions. And I'm so glad that you're talking about it. I know it's, for some people who are watching right now, it might be a serious thing, but you know, we will have to face certain stuff. And then it's good to know who's out there that's advocating for our healing. And I really appreciate you, Yvonne, for doing that very sort of thing, and to be writing about your experiences so that we know that we're not alone. And some of the thoughts that we have, whether it's like struggling with forgiving people or struggling to heal from tragedies and things like that. So really, really do appreciate you. So what is the best way to get in contact with you and to learn more about all the different things that you do?
My website is yvonneortega.com, and the blog is also there at the website.
Nice.
And my email is yvonneortega9@gmail.com. And what I want to tell everyone about is the fact that because of the times that we're in, out of the spirit of generosity and servanthood, I have reopened my free resources page, and I have updated the free gift that I send to those who subscribe to my weekly post. And I have done that PDF in light of the times that we are living in right now, because everything has changed since I wrote that first PDF as a free gift to those who subscribe. And also, I would like to say that two books that I'm working on right now, one is Speaking Tips, and the other one is Creating New Dreams After Divorce. So I am focused on those new dreams, and I had a bucket list, as we call it, and I checked everything off on that list, and I said, it's time to make a new list. And some of the things that I put on that list, I can't do right now because we aren't traveling and we can't have live events. But that's okay. It won't be forever. Go every so often in your closet and pat your suitcase and say, God, I thank you that the time will come when I can travel again. God, I thank you for the times that I'll be able to put on my dancing shoes and go out again.
Absolutely. What a great way to end this discussion. Say thank you for giving us that breath of hope. And you're just a wonderful woman. And just what would you like to say to some of your PWN friends that you won't be able to see in person? Like any kind of fun hellos that you'd like to do?
I'd like to send you all great big cyber hugs. Thank you for the times you've helped me with my website. And Marilyn, you're one of those people who worked with me for 1.5 years. And Erica Rice, thank you for all the times you bailed me out too, helping me with the graphics and things. And I'm trying to learn all of that myself. And I think of Jennifer Maroney, who has faithfully given for years and has a smile from ear to ear. And I miss running into her at Office Max or the grocery store or wherever. But the time will come when we can do that once again.
Absolutely.
And
And big hugs, right?
great big hugs.
Big hugs.
And what I would like to say is,
Yes.
for those who share this, I will be looking. And if you are divorced or a single parent, maybe you've never been married, but you're a single parent, I'm going to draw one name. You give me your email and your phone number, and I will call you. And we will focus only on that one thing, getting through the pandemic as a single parent, as a divorced person, as one who's alone. Don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone. Wow, what a great and generous offer. And thank you for your time today. I really, really enjoy having you here. And everybody else, you know, this is the time to connect and show up, just like Yvonne's showing up. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Yvonne.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Marilyn.
This concludes our interviews for this live stream. We really appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we thank you for being a part of our network. We definitely invite you, if you're not currently a member, to go ahead and join us so that you can reap the benefits of the different things that we do, from advertising you to sharing you in our platform, also being able to access all the other different resources in our app. So let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to message me directly or go ahead and visit our website, peninsulawomen'snetwork.org. Until next time, see you around.